Very inspirational indeed, and good luck to the team as well. But right now we step off the yachts in the global waters to head into the final frontier. Now, today's edition of The Final Frontier is a rather sad one indeed, as we mourn the loss of one of the greatest scientific minds since Albert Einstein himself. Professor Stephen Hawking passed away on Tuesday night at the age of 76, peacefully in his home after struggling with motor neuron disease for 55 years. Now, today we take a look back at his greatest contributions to science with astrophysicist Dr. Imogen Whittam. Imogen, how's it, man? Welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
Nice to see you. Listen, this is news that shocked the world. You know, he was such an icon. If you mention the name Stephen Hawking, then people know who you were talking about as well. But what an incredible man. Diagnosed at the age of 21 with MND, and he went on to live up until the age of 76. That's after doctors gave him only 2 years.
Yeah, so he was diagnosed while he was doing his PhD at the University of Cambridge, and initially thought he wouldn't even be able to complete his PhD. So we were lucky that he was with us for so long and was able to make such a significant contribution to modern cosmology, and was an inspirational figure to so many people, including those with disabilities, and made physics accessible to everybody.
Absolutely, and it was his positive spirit, the spirit of not giving up, that actually, led him to live such an incredible life as well. Let's quickly talk about one of his biggest offerings, a book that he published, A Brief History and Time. Why did this mean so much to the world?
Yes, so this was the first popular science book that he wrote, and it was a surprise bestseller. He completed it in 1988, despite the fact that by this point he could only talk via his now famous voice synthesizer. Yeah. He went on to write several other books, such as The Universe in a Nutshell and A Briefer History of Time. He also collaborated with his daughter Lucy on a series of children's books featuring a character named George and his travels through space. If you haven't read one of his books, I really encourage you to pick up a copy and find out a bit more about our universe. Yeah. He also made his thesis available online just last year, and that was downloaded over 1 million times.
Yeah, and you can see people are hungry for this, and this is why he had such a successful career as well. Now, of course, like I mentioned, many people have heard of Professor Stephen Hawking, but I don't think quite understand, what he contributed to science. So, in your field, what would you say were some of his biggest and greatest discoveries?
Yeah, so he made some really significant contributions to modern cosmology and our understanding of the universe. He was a theoretical cosmologist, and that means that he helped to develop some of the ideas that we use to understand the origins of the universe and how the laws of physics work. One of his most significant fields of research was black holes.
Yes.
And he really developed the ideas that laid the foundation for our modern understanding of black holes. Also, along with Roger Penrose, he showed that the Big Bang started from a single point, a singularity.
Yeah, and a very tiny point at that as well, which is things that completely go over my head, hence I need to pick up a copy of his book, A Brief History and Time. He's also managed to bring together different fields of kind of physics, and how do you manage to kind of integrate them and bring them together, something that I don't think was thought of?
Yes, he was able to use ideas from quantum mechanics, which deals with very, very small scales, so smaller than atoms, and general relativity, which describes the larger structures in the universe. And by doing this, he showed that black holes can actually emit radiation and lose mass as they do so. And this process is now known as Hawking radiation.
Wow. And just on a last point also to touch, he was very busy, obviously, on a global scale, but he had his fingers down here in South Africa as well with an initiative called the Next Einstein.
Yes, so he actually came to South Africa in 2008 and, amongst other places, visited the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, known as AIMS, in Muizenberg. And he was a big supporter of their Next Einstein initiative, which tries to provide opportunities for people to reach their potential, some of Africa's most brilliant and brightest minds, to understand the biggest problems of our time.
Fantastic. Imogen, thank you very much for joining us and just running us through the life of this incredible man. Really appreciate it. And just once again, our thoughts and condolences go out to his family and his friends. And it's now time to celebrate the incredible life that he lived, Professor Stephen Hawking. Right, we'll quickly take a quick ad break. We'll be back with more on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.